Sipurei masios till one the last princess on the way. I told a story which whoever heard it had a thought of tshuva, returning closer to God. And this is the story. Once there was a king. The king had six sons and one daughter. Nanach, nachma, meuman. The daughter was very precious to him, and he loved her very much, and would delight very much with her. One time, while he was together with her on a certain day, he became angry with her, and the words, "The not good one should take you away," escaped from his mouth. At night she went to her room. In the morning no one knew where she was. Her father the king was very afflicted, and went here and there. And went here and there, looking for her. And went here and there, looking for her. The viceroy second in kingship arose because he saw the king. Because he saw the king was very distressed, and asked to be given in attendance a horse and money for expenses, and went to search for her. He searched hard for her for a very long time. Nachman meuman. He searched hard for her for a very long time, until he found her. Now he tells how he searched for her until he found her. He traveled a long time in deserts, fields, and forests, and he sought her for a very long time. He was going around in the desert, and he saw a way from the side. He decided, since I have been going for such a long time in the desert and cannot find her, I will follow this path. Maybe I will reach a settled area. He went for a long time. After that he saw a castle and many soldiers standing around it. And the castle was very beautiful, and the soldiers stood around it in fine order. He was afraid of the soldiers, that maybe they would not let him in. He decided, I will go and try. And he left the horse and went to the castle. They let him enter and did not hinder him at all. And he went from room to room, and they did not stop him. He came to a palace and saw the king sitting there with a crown and many soldiers standing around him, and many were playing on instruments for him. And it was very pleasant and beautiful there, and neither the king nor any of them asked the viceroy a thing, and neither the king nor any of them asked the viceroy a thing. And he saw there delicacies and good foods, and he went and ate, and went and lay down in a corner to see what would be done there. He saw that the king called for the queen to be brought, and they went to bring her, and there was a great commotion and a great happiness, and the musicians played and sang vigorously because they were bringing the queen, and they placed a throne for her and seated her next to him. And she was the king's daughter, and he, the viceroy, saw her and recognized her. Later the queen glanced and saw someone lying in a corner. She recognized him and rose from her throne, went to him, touched him and asked him, "Do you recognize me?" And he answered her, "Yes, I know you. You are the king's daughter who was lost." He asked her, "How did you come here?" She answered him, "Because my father the king let the word escape, namely that the not good one should take you, and here this is the place that is not good." He told her that her father was very distressed, and that he had been searching for many years. And he asked her, "How can I take you out?" She answered him, "You cannot take me out. You cannot take me out unless you choose for yourself a place and sit there for 1 year, and the entire year. And the entire year you must yearn for me to take me out, and whenever you have free time, you must only yearn and ask and hope expectantly to take me out. And you must fast, and the last day of the year you must fast, and you must not sleep the entire 24-hour period, literally from period to period. Nach, nachman, he went and did so, and at the end of the year, on the last day, he fasted and did not sleep, and he arose and went there, that is, to the king's daughter to take her out. He saw a tree, and on it were growing very beautiful apples, and it was very desirable to his eyes, and he went and ate from them. As soon as he ate the apple, he fell down, and sleep overtook him, and he slept a very long time. His attendants tried to wake him, but he could not be awakened at all. Later he awoke from his sleep and asked the attendant, "Where am I in the world?" The attendant, told him the whole story. "You have been sleeping a very long time. It is already several years, and I have sustained myself, from the fruit." The viceroy agonized very much, and went there and found her there. That is the king's daughter. She lamented to him very much. "If you would have just come on that day, you would have taken me out of here. And because of one day you lost," in other words, because you could not restrain yourself, "one day, and you ate the apple. Because of that day, because of that you lost. In truth, not to eat is a very difficult thing, especially on the last day, when the evil inclination becomes very strong." That is, the king's daughter said to him that now she would make the prohibition more lenient, and he would not be forbidden to eat, because it is a hard thing to abide by, etc. Therefore choose for yourself a place again, and also stay there a year as before, and on the last day you will be permitted to eat. Only do not sleep and do not drink wine, so that you should not sleep, because the main thing is sleep. He went and did so. On the last day he was going there, and saw a running spring, and its color was red, and the smell was of wine. He asked the servants, "Have you seen? This is a spring, and there ought to be water in it, but its color is red, and the smell is of wine." And he went and tasted from the spring. He immediately fell down and slept many years, until 70 years. Many soldiers were going with their trains that follow behind them, and the servant hid himself because of the soldiers. After that went a carriage and covered wagons, and there sat the king's daughter. She stood next to him, and went down and sat next to him, and recognized him, and she tried very much to wake him, but he could not be woken. She started to lament over him. There were so many great efforts and toils. You tortuously made these many years in order to take me out, and for one day when you could have taken me out, you completely lost. And she cried very much about this. She said, "It is a great pity on you and on me that I am here such a long time and cannot go out," etc. Afterwards she took the scarf off her head, and the man wrote, afterwards she took the scarf off her head and wrote on it with her tears, and laid it down next to him, and stood up and sat in her carriage and rode away. Afterwards he awoke and asked the attendant, "Where am I in the world?" He told him the whole story, and that many soldiers passed through there, and that the carriage was here, and that she, the king's daughter, screamed, "It is a great pity on you and on me," etc. as before. Meanwhile he glanced and noticed the scarf lying next to him. He asked, "Who is this from?" He answered him, "She left it behind and wrote on it with her tears." He took the scarf and raised it up against the sun. He began to see the letters. He read over what was written there, her lamentation and her cries as mentioned, and it was written there that now she is no longer in the castle. He should just search for a golden mountain and a pearl castle, There you will find me. He left the attendant behind and went alone to seek her, and he went and sought her for many years. He decided that in a settled area there could not be a golden mountain and a pearl castle, because he was an expert in the world map, which is called chronicle. Therefore I will go in the deserts. He went searching for her in deserts for many years. Afterwards he noticed a very large man whose largeness was beyond human bounds, and he was carrying a large tree. So large that in a settled area such a large tree would not exist. And he, the viceroy, asked him, "Who are you?" He answered him, "I am a man." He was amazed and said, "I have been in the wilderness such a long time now, and I have never seen a man." He told him the whole story mentioned above, and that he was looking for a golden mountain and a pearl castle, and that he was looking for a golden mountain and a pearl castle. He replied to him, "It certainly does not exist." And he decided dissuaded him, and he dissuaded him and said to him, they have convinced you with nonsense, because it certainly does not exist. He started to weep very much. The Vaisri cried very much and said, with certainly it does exist in some place. But he dissuaded him and said, certainly they have convinced you with nonsense. He said, certainly it exists somewhere. He said, certainly it exists somewhere. He said to him, in my opinion, it is nonsense, but because you are so stubborn, look, I'm the appointee over all the animals. I will act for your sake and summon all the animals, since they run all over the world. Maybe one of them will know of that mountain and that castle. He summoned all the animals from small to large, all sorts of animals, and asked them. They all answered that they had not seen. They all answered that they had not seen. They all answered and that they had not seen. He said to him, see, they have talked nonsense into you. If you want to listen to me, turn back, because certainly you will not find it, because it does not exist in the world. But he pressed him very much and said, it must surely indeed be. He said to him, look, I have a brother in the wilderness, and he is the appointee over all the birds. And he is the appointee over all the birds. Maybe they will know, since they fly high in the air. Maybe they have seen this mountain and the castle. Go to him and tell him that I have sent you to him. He went many, many years, seeking him, the appointee of the animals, and again found a very large man as before, also carrying a large tree, and questioning him as before. He answered him with the whole story, and that his brother had sent him to him, and he too dissuaded him, the Vaisri, since this certainly does not exist. And the Vaisri also disputed with him, it certainly does exist. He told him, this man told the Vaisri, I am the appointee over all the birds. I will summon them, maybe they will know. He called up all the birds and asked all of them, from small to large. They answered him that they do not know of the mountain and the castle. He told him, do you not see? It is certainly not here in the world. If you will listen to me, turn back, because it certainly is not here. And he pressed him and said, it certainly is here in the world. He told him further, in the wilderness is my brother. He's an appointee over all the winds, and they run over the whole world. Perhaps they know. He went many years seeking him, and again found a large man as before, who was also carrying a large tree, and also questioned him as before. He also answered him with the old story as before. He also dissuaded him, and the Vaisri implored him likewise. He said to him, this third man, to the Vaisri, that he would act for his sake and summon the winds and asked them. He called them, and all the winds came, and he asked all of them. Not one of them knew of the mountain and the castle. He said to him, the third man, to the Vaisri, don't you see that you have been told nonsense? The Vaisri began to cry very much and said, I know it surely does exist. Just then he saw that another wind had arrived. The appointee became angry with him. Why have you so delayed in coming? Didn't I decree that all the winds should come? Why didn't you come with them? He answered him, I was delayed. Oh yeah, I was delayed because I had to carry a king's daughter to a golden mountain with a pearl castle. He was overjoyed. The Vaisri was very happy that he now merited a hearing what he desired. The appointee asked the wind, what is valuable there? That is, what things are precious and important there? He said to him, there everything is very dear. The appointee over the winds replied to the Vaisri, since it is such a long time that you have been searching for her, and you have spent so much effort, and perhaps you will now have a hindrance due to money, therefore I will give you a vessel, such that when you put your hand into it, you will get money from there. And he summoned the wind to carry him there. The storm wind came and carried him there, and brought him to the gate, and standing there were soldiers who did not let him enter the city. He put his hand into the vessel and took out money and bribed them, and went into the city. It was a beautiful city, and he went to a man of means and rented food and lodging for himself because it was necessary to remain there, because it was necessary to see with wisdom and intellect in order to take her out. And he took her out, and how he took her out he did not tell, but in the end he took her out of a king and an emperor. There too, there once was an emperor who had no children. There was also a king who had no children. The emperor traveled about the earth, wandering around in search perhaps he would find some remedy or tonic that would enable him to have children. Mashiach v'kimen, chzav yimat bavoyer esachon, nachman meuman bezH alachasoy. Mulu mishkav kam samsani in keim, chitgvarim minayin sim nizam tam yam shem chumsan.